This day from dying young, I see the light go past my shoulder. On one less day from dying young, I see my life.
It's time for the Answers on Aging program with Sarah Scott and Todd Watley, a program to help seniors know all about the services available in Northwest Arkansas and beyond. The show focuses on how to make seniors enjoy the fullest opportunities in our region. If you're a senior or know a senior, you can call in with your questions or comments about caregiving or caregivers. Call in and ask Sarah or Todd.
Hey, I still get to do jokes, right?
I guess, Sarah.
That and more here on Answers on Aging, plus many special guests and announcements on senior activities. Now your hosts of Answers on Aging, Todd and Sara.
All right, good morning. This is the Answers on Aging radio show, and my name is Todd Watley. It is a beautiful Wednesday morning, and I am here with my beautiful co-host, Sarah Scott.
Hey, good morning, Todd Watley and Tommy and everybody out there in Kerm Country. Welcome to the Answers on Aging radio program.
Yeah,
the absolute best radio program if you are an aging individual. And if you're not dead, I'm talking to you, because if we're living, we're aging.
That's right.
Right?
And we bring our combined 30-plus years of aging experience working with those people that are older, and it's a unique group, you know?
Yeah.
Older people are very interesting, and we were sharing stories the other day, and it's just, people are funny. You know, people come into the office. We were in Tulsa yesterday, in my Tulsa office doing some things, and it's just, we were just talking about how different clients are just totally different mindsets with the very same problems, but it's just interesting. But we love, and I think I love old people, but it does not compare to Sarah's love for old people. We were at a restaurant somewhere, and a older gentleman walked by. He was sitting by us, and she said, he is the cutest little thing. Just every time there's an old person, she's just like, he's the cutest little thing. And she loves old people, and they're just a unique group, and you have to have a heart for the older people, because you know, with dementia and stuff, they can be trying, but Sarah especially knows how to talk to them and you know, divert them and do things, and she just does a fantastic job of working with older people. And I love old people. I've done it my entire adult career as a physical therapist. I started out not by choice. I was told you're going to do home health, which is typically older people, and then I started contracting with a company to do some nursing home work, and so I've just always worked with older people. And then I became a lawyer. Did general practice for like a year. Hated it, by the way.
Yeah.
And learned that there was this whole specialty of working with older people as an attorney, and this whole thing called elder law. And I thought, I love old people.
Yeah.
And I'm a lawyer, so let's see how this works out.
Yeah.
And I think I've done fairly well with it.
Yeah, you have. You know what's funny about that is I didn't choose to work with the elderly either.
Really?
Honestly, so I was pregnant with my first son, Will, and my husband he was in his third year of law school, and I had like a really low-paying medical equipment sales job that I hated.
Yeah.
Hated, and it didn't have health insurance benefits. And so I was on Medicaid and spent probably the first, from until February of 2008. So I was a few months pregnant and was going through like the health department system. And that really opened my eyes to a lot of things and highly motivated me to find a job with health insurance benefits. And so I because I had initially planned after my husband got out of law school, not to right away have a baby, but he was a surprise, but
Surprise.
and just kind of changed the path a little bit. So I was going to go to grad school and get my counseling license, and then I found out I was pregnant and needed health insurance, and so I just put my resume out there to kind of fish and see what I could get. And the first place that called me was a nursing home in Rogers, and they said, you don't have the experience, but you've got the degree in psychology and minored in sociology, so you have the degree qualification. You want to come interview. And the administrator who called me had actually worked her first job in long-term care for my ex-aunt,
Okay.
who I still have a great relationship with. And so she had already checked my references with this common person, and it was a really great reference. So I had that going into the door, but I was visibly pregnant and thinking, okay, long shot, they're not going to hire somebody this pregnant. And they did, and I got the job, and I just fell in love with it. But yeah, I was reluctant because I thought, God, I've always loved old people, but when we used to do church services on Sundays at the nursing homes in Walnut Ridge, Mom would say, I would cry walking in the door because it was sad and depressing, and I would cry walking out the door because I couldn't take them with me.
I could see that. Yeah.
And so I've always loved old people, but I didn't necessarily think, oh, yeah, I'd love to work in a nursing home. But I did. So, yeah.
Okay.
Interesting how that works.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So today's Wednesday, and that means there's a new podcast that came out this morning. And it is primarily Sara, who is the caregiver expert, I think. And she combines... This was funny. When we started, I didn't know what she was going to do, but she combines her boy mom experience of sports with caregiving. And so it's the ABCs of caregiving, and number one's being an athlete, and number two is boundaries, and number three is, what's C? Change. And so she kind of relates it back to her being a boy mom and sports and different things, and it's a really good show. It's 20 minutes long, and you will get some really good pointers about caregiving and some things that you need to be careful about, and it's the fundamentals. Sports is built on fundamentals, and she gives you the fundamentals of caregiving. It's a really good show. It continues to evolve. I'm proud about I listen to other podcasts, and I get some pointers and things from there. And so I think we do a pretty good job of producing it, and it's not boring. It's quick and to the point. It's, we don't fluff around with things. We just get right to the point. So speaking of getting to the point, I want to today, I want to talk about something that we've mentioned a few times throughout the year, but it is something that we tend to focus on during the holidays. And I was talking with my secretary yesterday, and I said, hey, schedule them not this Monday, but next Monday. And she said, okay, that'll be November something. I said, wait, what?
No.
Wait.
We were like, no.
November? That's holiday month.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
We are coming upon the holidays. Like it or not, it's about to be November and December, and we get busy. And I want to do this today, but then we'll come back to it and do it again closer to Thanksgiving. But every year it's a tradition now that we talk about the hard conversations or the hard questions that you need to, as a child of older people, I want to give you the tools, but also the encouragement to go to your parents' house, have a good time, meet, greet, do the fun stuff, but then before you leave, before you leave, ask some hard questions, because they need you to ask those questions. And if you're the older person, I want you to take this to heart and make your kids hear these questions and know the answers.
Yes, and these questions that need to be asked are really sensitive, hot button topics that need to be handled in a very delicate and thoughtful and respectful manner. And I think that if you would go back to our podcast and listen first before you start thinking about how am I going to have this hard conversation and ask these hard questions, if you would go back to our podcast that the topic is, I think, how do I handle a difficult or hard situation? And it's an interview with a really good friend of mine. His name's Charles Davidson, and he is it's not a professor, it's like a faculty member, but he teaches a class in conflict resolution and peace building, and
I think his PhD.
He has a
Like
PhD, yeah.
conflict resolution.
Yeah,
somehow.
yeah.
Lord,
He's crazy smart and has really good, helpful tactics and thought processes for really handling difficult situations. And the biggest point or takeaway I feel like from that episode is that no matter what, Todd, you don't need to avoid conflict, okay? You need to lean into it and you need to handle it in a way that is, it solves, it may not solve a problem, but it at least results with some type of resolution or resolve in that it can at least walk away from a difficult conversation with a better understanding of where the other person is or why something is so important to the other person, or maybe just be able to empathize a little bit more with the other person. And so check that episode out before you kind of construct or practice asking these questions. And I think it would make it a whole lot easier whenever it does come time for the holidays and you have had fun, you've, made some good memories, and then it's time to get down to business. So before we dive in, I do want to give the numbers.
Okay.
So,
by the way, that is episode 15.
Episode 15.
How do I make a difficult conversation or situation easier?
Okay, thank you. Episode 15. And so, yes, but as always, we absolutely love to answer your questions, give you answers, and hear that you're out there and help, because that's what we're here for. So if you're in Kerm Country, pick up the phone and dial 636-7979. Anyone outside of Kerm Country can call 1-800-767-7979. And we're streaming live on Facebook. So we've got a Facebook page called Answers on Aging. Just type that in the search bar. Pull up a live feed. You can ask questions and share comments. I see moms up there, Miss Mary Miller. Good morning, ladies.
Yeah.
Do we have anybody else? And
Trisha.
I saw Sarah Watley and Theo earlier.
Oh, okay, cool.
Trish.
Yeah, Trisha, our back office person, that everything we mentioned, she Googles and she has a link to. So if you ever have questions or want to know anything that we've talked about, probably Trisha's researched it, and there's a link on our Facebook comments page. So, all right. So probably, what do you think is the most important question? Let's start there.
Okay. So I think the most important question is, how are you feeling about your current situation? Just overall, your health.
Overall.
Are you comfortable in your home? Just basically, how's it going? But not it's not like, how's the weather?
Sure.
Or how do you feel about there not being a paper delivered every day? It's a little bit deeper than that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing about the holidays is, in a phone call, parents are really good at hiding a lot of things. You can have a 20 to 30-minute phone call with your parents, and there could be some major issues going on, but you would never know it.
Right.
Because they're able to cover that. You can't see them typically if they don't do FaceTime. I love FaceTime because you can actually see what's going on, or Zoom or whatever. But in a phone call, you may miss some things, but when you go visit and you spend more than 30 minutes, you stay at their house, or if you don't stay there, you're there like all day, you can see that mom and dad's memory is pretty good for 30 minutes. But it's like every hour, Dad has asked me, now, where does Johnny go to college?
Yeah.
And it's like, I just answered that an hour ago. And so ding, 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 Dad's having some memory issues. And, or you can watch them get around. And like Sarah said, if you see a dad-sized indention in his recliner or the couch, maybe he's spending a whole lot of time there and is not going upstairs to his bedroom.
Right. Yeah. I mean, or maybe they don't have stairs, but they all sleep on the same level, and they, mom and dad have always slept in the same bed, and you see this dad-sized indention in the couch, and you need to ask, okay, did you just wake up, or are you sleeping on the couch all the time now? And well, what's up with that? Because it could be, it's difficult for him to get in and out of bed. It could be because mom's developed a bad snoring habit. I mean, it could be a number of things. It could be related to pain. It's just easier if I, prop up because my shoulder always hurts, or, but it is most likely going to be because of some type of change that you need to be aware of and try to help figure out how to make it better.
Yeah. Another really good indicator is the refrigerator.
Yes.
That will show you how they are doing mentally. And you're like, what? Look at the refrigerator and see how old is the sour cream?
Yeah.
How old is the milk?
Yeah.
Is it a month out of date?
Yeah.
Are there Tupperware dishes that are green, have green stuff? It's not food anymore. It's green science experiment or something. See what's going on. Have they forgotten or just not able to clean out the refrigerator? That's a big indicator that there may be a problem here, or they're not getting out and they're not going to buy food. What is in there? What are they eating every day?
Well, and it could also, give you a good indicator of, their nutritional intake, and find out what they are eating. And if it's nothing but, frozen Hungry Man's every day, is there a different, better option? I'm not dogging Hungry Man, okay? The meals, Hungry Man.
Oh, okay.
But, there needs to be some veggies, and so, even if it's canned, I mean, there's nothing wrong. That's better than nothing. But yeah, and don't flip out if there's just like one or two expired items in the fridge. But if it's recurring, or, the majority of the food is expired.
If it's really bad.
Yeah. Or it might mean that they need to go to the eye doctor because they can't see that teeny tiny date printed on the jar.
Yeah.
So it can mean a lot of different things. But again, things that you need to dig a little bit deeper into and help make it better.
Yeah. Which kind of leads us to another issue is ask them, how often are you seeing your doctor? And when you go to your doctor, have you listed me as a recipient on the HIPAA release?
Yes.
So HIPAA is the federal law that gives you privacy of healthcare information. And every time you go, they typically ask you, here's a HIPAA form. Who can we talk to? Make sure that your parents list you on that HIPAA form, and then I would even follow up and call and say, hey, your patient is Ed Jones. I am Ed Jones' son, and would you please make a note in your file, and I should be listed on his HIPAA release. I would like for you to call me if he misses an appointment. and hopefully they will make a note on there since they can talk to you. Your dad has authorized that if you do miss an appointment, hopefully they will call you and say, hey, Todd, your dad missed an appointment. And you're like, oh, man. And so you know that, and you can follow up and say, hey, Dad, what's up? You missed your doctor's. No, that was next week. No, it was today. And so it just helps give you this full picture, but that's a very crucial thing that you need to be aware of and be informed on from the provider themselves.
For sure. And, if you do have power of attorney, hopefully you do, but not all healthcare power of attorney documents include the language to be on or like to obtain medical information, which is one of the reasons that going to see an elder law attorney to prepare your documents is so important whenever you become a senior, because as you age, health things come up, financial things come up, and there are all these extra powers that an elder law attorney's POA documents have in them that, the very general form that the discharge planner gives you from the hospital doesn't have.
Right.
So it's important to have the right documents and to be listed on your parents or your aging loved ones' authorization list to receive their medical information. Okay.
Which leads us to another question is, where do you keep those documents?
Yeah.
Where are your powers of attorney? Number one, have you gone and done that? If not, you need to go do that.
Right.
And number two, if you've done that, where are they? Because if you don't have it in your hand, if your parent becomes incapacitated or is in the hospital or whatever, and you don't have that document in your hand, you can't prove that you're the power of attorney, and so therefore it's as if there is no power of attorney if you don't have it. And so force them to tell you where are those documents. And I would recommend
having a copy
yourself, but then also encourage your parents to put their current financial documents with those. Because having a financial power of attorney is great, but if you don't know where the finances are, it's like, okay, I have to physically go to every bank and show them this power of attorney and say, does mom and dad have accounts here? Well, that's ridiculous. So, and if they invest like with Fidelity or
Edward Jones,
it's not local, it's somewhere else. And so I encourage my clients, when they get the powers of attorney, they get a 3-ring binder, and I always require that the 3-ring binders that we buy have pockets. And I encourage my clients, put your financial documents like January 1st and July 4th, okay? That's the first and middle of the year. You don't have to do every single month. Just give them some indication of where your money is so that they know who to call, where to go to get this information and handle your affairs for you. And, this group tends to be very private and sometimes very
offended
and
defensive. They get
adamant
defensive.
that I'm not going to tell you how much money I have. You don't need to know that. Well, once you get old, if you're 50, probably so. But if you're 80, you really need to let your family know what's out there.
Or if you're just adamant, I'm not giving my financial information to my kids, period, end of story. Give them the information for your financial advisor, their contact information, so that at your death, they know who to contact. Worst case scenario, you just will not do it. At least tell your financial advisor, assuming that you have one, that when I die, I do want my kids to know this information, but not until then. And I'm sure they'd be fine with that. But if the kids don't know which one to call, there's an issue.
Yep. Phone numbers. There's been no phone calls.
636-7979 or 1-800-767-7979. those are the two numbers you need to pick up the phone and be dialing right now because we need questions. We love to answer questions.
We do a live show for a reason.
Yeah.
It's so that you can call us and ask us questions, and we can answer questions. We always know that that's what our audience likes is, hey, if you've got a question, I know this is something, and please call.
Yeah.
It's super easy. It's just a phone call. It's just a conversation between two people.
Mm-hmm. And maybe 3 if you pick up the phone and call. I do want to give a shout out when we were at the I'm with Miller golf tournament on your birthday.
Yes.
So Todd and I and a friend played on a team. Played in air quotes for me.
Greg and I played.
It was horrible. I am a horrible golfer. So we played the first flight, and then I drove a drink cart on the second flight. And we would go around to the different teams and offer them hydration. And one of the guys on one of the teams, he was like, "Do you have a radio show?" Or no, he said, "Are you on Kerm?" And I said, "Yeah." And long story short, he listens to the show a lot. And because he's got aging parents. But more ironically, he works with my best friend Liz.
Okay.
For NWA Realty. So his name is Chris. So Chris, if you're out there listening, good morning. Thanks for listening. Give us a call. Okay. I think we have a call.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Yay. Good job, Sarah. Hey, caller. Thanks for calling. What can we do for you?
Yes. Am I on?
You
are. You're on the radio.
Okay. Hey, I've got a question. You all did a beneficiary dues for my mother-in-law
Okay.
a couple months ago, and you sent me a copy of it. Do you all do all the filing of that, or do I have to do anything other than just hold that piece of paper that it was filed?
Okay. Do you recall in the upper right-hand corner, was there a block of print stuff, or was it not file marked?
I really don't know. I didn't look at it that close.
Well, typically we do file that. As soon as you sign it, we scan it in, and we can do that electronically with the courthouse. But you should have gotten a copy, and you can notice in the upper right-hand corner there should be some information. The time and
kind
date.
of like a stamp with somebody's signature or something on it?
Well, it's not a signature, but it's a time and date of when it was recorded and, and some numbers. So, yeah, if you did not get that, please call the office and we will get you a file mark copy.
I believe that it does have it on it.
Good.
And I want to thank you for the program because had I not been listening, my mother-in-law went in a nursing home 2 years ago or maybe longer and would not change her deed to a beneficiary deed. Didn't know about it even, and so now we've got that changed where they didn't have much, but the state was going to get it all.
Yep.
I mean, she's been in there a couple of years, so I know her property wasn't worth that much, but they was going to receive all of it upon her death, I believe. So. Anyhow, thank you for the program. You do a great job, and
thank you.
Have a great day.
All right, thank you for calling. Yeah,
bye-bye.
All right, thank you.
That easy.
Yeah, I mean that's what we do is for $250.
Yeah,
we were able to protect a home from the Medicaid lien, and it's not that hard, and
not that expensive,
and it's not that expensive considering how much benefit you're getting from that. And please understand, and I won't use his name, but there's, most attorneys don't know that. And even a good friend of mine who is who does elder law here in Northwest Arkansas, he called me and said, "Todd, did you know that the beneficiary deed is now, that it now protects the house from the Medicaid lien?" I said, "Yeah, I knew that." And he's like, "I didn't know that." And I said, "Man, I'm sorry I didn't call you." And so, even someone who does this every day doesn't know that. And so, I'm not saying that you have to use us, but I'm just saying make sure that the attorney that you go to knows what they're doing. And if you do any other deed besides a beneficiary deed right now, it's going to be a gift. And that's a problem if you need nursing home care within the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And so with a beneficiary deed, it is not a gift, and it protects it from the Medicaid lien, which
Easy.
is just...
So why not?
In Tulsa and in Oklahoma, you can't do that. They do not have that. And so we were there talking with my partners there, and Sarah's going to be answering, taking the initial consults for them. And I said, hey, that's that issue with the beneficiary deed. So I was explaining to them how Arkansas does it. And they're like, that's amazing. I said, I know. I bet I've done 50, probably 50 beneficiary deeds over the last few months.
Yeah.
Because it's just the perfect tool. And so if you are a senior, and if you, have, and even putting your house in a trust avoids probate, but it does not protect it from Medicaid.
That's right.
And so I highly encourage you that if you're over the age of 65 or so, and you still have your house just in your name, number one, if you die, that's going to go through probate, which is bad. And number two, Medicaid's going to put a lien on it and get their money back. So please give us a call. Give someone a call who knows what they're doing and can make sure your house doesn't go through probate and ideally is not subject to the Medicaid lien. All right.
That's right. We have another call.
Right. Sarah's got them calling in this morning. Hey, caller, thanks for calling. What can we do for you?
Are you there?
We're there. Yes, sir.
Okay. My dad is 82 years old.
Okay.
And he's on the verge of going into a nursing home.
Okay.
And he has a house and some property and a little money. And I was wondering if he put him in a nursing home and his money run out, can the nursing home or the state pick up on take his place from him?
Yes, absolutely. And that's what we were just talking about is the Medicaid lien. You can own your home and still qualify for Medicaid with the understanding that at the time of your death, if that property goes through probate, they're going to put a lien on it and get their money back. But
what about if it's in a irrevocable trust?
Okay. If it's in a irrevocable trust, it is. If the irrevocable trust is done correctly, it will protect it from Medicaid. However, putting it into an irrevocable trust that's a gift, and therefore there is a 5-year look back on gifts, and therefore he probably will not qualify for Medicaid for the next 5 years. The ideal thing is the beneficiary deed. We can do a beneficiary deed to say at his death, his home doesn't go through probate, and thankfully, for the Arkansas legislature this year fixed it so that Medicaid cannot put a lien on that property at the time of death. Okay. So, and the other thing real quick is whatever cash he has, we're able, under the Medicaid rules, we're able to protect half of that at least, and sometimes 60 or 70% of that, even though someone's going into the nursing home very quickly. There's some really cool things we can do to protect it.
And I have one more question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Well, my mother passed away 2 years ago, nearly, and my dad's left, and he's got 7 kids, and they all argue about him between each other, of course.
Yeah.
And my youngest sister has power of attorney. Does she have the power to put him in the nursing home without all the others?
Yes. Well,
I didn't.
Yes, Dad has to agree to go. Okay. But she can sign paperwork, she can do things, and if Dad chooses to go to the nursing home, she has the power to pay for it and deal with his assets and do things.
Well, he has old timers, And
you can talk to him for 5 minutes and he's good. In next 30 minutes, he's forgot everything.
Sure. You know,
well,
I really do encourage you and your sister, who is his power of attorney, to seek the advice of an elder law attorney who knows what they're doing and can help advise you. Just even if there's nothing to do, I mean, I would definitely do the beneficiary deed on the home, but there could be other things that could be done to help preserve the estate.
Okay. And I thank you.
You're welcome.
You.
Yeah. Let me just say real quick that the information on this show is not specific legal advice. It is for general information. You need to seek the advice of your own attorney. I am not giving legal advice. I am giving out general information for your enjoyment.
Yes. And if you want to get his legal advice, give us a call at 479-601-4119. And we have another caller. Hey, good morning, caller. Thank you for listening. How can we help you today? Oh, come on.
Oh, that's real good. Call back.
Whoops.
Sorry about that. We
Call
had
us
them
back.
and we lost them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Back to our topic, though.
Okay.
I think what you were saying earlier about investments and sharing financial information is a good segue into the next question, which is how is your financial situation, and do your monthly expenses exceed your monthly income? Is there a nest egg somewhere? Because you need to get an idea of how much it's costing them to pay for living right now, and if that's maintainable, or if we need to be looking into other options and maybe some financial assistance, or checking to see, especially if your loved one is a veteran, if they're eligible for some extra benefits, and then if they've applied for them, even if they've been told no before, ask again.
So many people call the VA, they ask very few questions, and once you answer the questions and say your income is X, which is above the amount they pay, they're like, yeah, you're disqualified. Well, that's not all the questions you should ask. You should ask, how much are you spending for care? That's a integral part of that decision process, and the VA typically doesn't ask that question.
Yeah. Okay.
So
we've got the caller.
push the button. There we go. Hey, caller, thanks for calling. What can we do for you?
Thank you so much for taking my call. I really appreciate it. I really enjoy your show. You guys have a great show.
Thank you.
I wonder if you could talk for a moment about the importance of having the right of sepulture added to power of attorney paperwork. As a retired funeral director, I've seen so many times that a person who has power of attorney over the deceased does not realize that power of attorney ends at death unless right of sepulture is added to that. And I was wondering if you could just talk about that for a minute. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's a great question. I don't think we've ever had that question before.
Yes, I have.
So typically, in most cases, when you have power of attorney, just the general power of attorney, once the person who your power of attorney for has passed away, that power of attorney is no longer in effect. It dies when that person dies. And so any type of authority that you may have had over bank accounts or assets, property, whatever, that power is no longer in place with your typical power of attorney document because that person has died. This is the very reason why we encourage our clients to make sure that there are payable on death beneficiaries assigned on every account, every asset, everything in your name, so that you're not going through probate at your death.
Yeah. So if that term surprises you, what it means actually is the right to choose and control the burial, cremation, or other other final disposition of a dead human body. And so, if that power, if if the state allows you to do that, that is one of the powers that can go beyond the death of the person, but it allows them to choose that. And to be honest, I've never been asked that, but as a funeral director, that I'm sure that's extremely important to you, and I need to go look and make sure that my documents have that.
I've never seen that in any document.
Okay. But I don't know that that's in there, so I'll go look at that. Thank you very much for
Great
that call.
question.
But yes, that's important because you die. Now what?
Yeah,
okay, if you did not pre-plan, if you did not pay for your burial, I know there are forms out there that you can fill out, and if someone is concerned about that, I can download the form and they can print it, and then and it says this person has that power, but it is important to be in the power of attorney, and I need to go look at that.
Yeah. We have another call. I'm so glad. It's wonderful.
You got them calling in.
Hey, good morning, caller. What can we help you with today?
My wife and I are an elderly couple, and we made out a deed in our sons and deeded our property to our son. But we hadn't filed it.
Okay.
If we have to go to the nursing home, and it's been 5 years. Can we file that and not have to worry about the Medicare?
What kind of deed is it?
It's just a regular deed where we sold our property to him, but it's been notarized and everything, but it hasn't been filed.
Well, it depends on what kind of deed it is.
Well,
doesn't it?
Probably a complete warranty deed.
It's just a normal a deed.
Yeah.
Okay. So the answer is yes, that will protect you from Medicaid if it's been more than 5 years. Filing of the deed has nothing to do with its legality. As long as it is signed and it's basically been delivered, which means, does your son know that you've done this deed?
He does.
Okay. So, yes, that starts the 5-year clock. If it's been more than 5 years, it's protected, and I would hesitate doing anything with it at this point. But let me tell you, the downside to doing that is at the time of your death, this property will go to your son, and he will get it. And we're going to talk taxes for just 1 second. So what you paid for that property is known as your basis. Okay, that's what, for IRS purposes, your basis is what you paid for it. When your son goes to sell this property, he's going to have to pay the capital gains tax on the difference between what you paid for it and what he sold it for, which is at most today 25%. So if you bought it for $50 and he sells it for $150, that's a $100,000 benefit. He's going to have to pay possibly $25,000 worth of taxes because of this deed. All right. If we can make this deed transfer because of your death, like with a beneficiary deed, he gets a step up in basis, which means it jumps from $50,000 to $150. He sells it, he pays zero tax. All right. So typically, I don't recommend those deeds. If you do come in to see me and say, okay, Todd, what if we just do a warranty deed? I'm like, nah, let's don't do that because of the tax problems. But I am telling you, and this is not specific legal advice, but I'm just highly recommending that since you've done it, and if it's more than 5 years, you might want to leave it that way because you are through that 5-year look back, and the capital gains tax is an issue, but it is not nearly as expensive as a nursing home. Okay?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but am I eligible to talk to you if I live in Sebastian County?
Sure. I'm licensed in the whole state of Arkansas. So.
And all I'd have to do is call you?
Yes, sir. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah, 479-601-4119. 601-4119.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
And that's one of the things that concerns me, though, is if you go to, particularly if it's not been 5 years, I mean, and since it's been 5 years, I would probably recommend that you go ahead and file the deed so that it's there. Everybody knows it. It's just done. What I have seen some lawyers do is in crisis planning, they will deed the house to a kid, go into the nursing home and say, yes, I still own my home. Okay. And so you're telling Medicaid, yes, this person owns their home, and the application that you sign, you agree to the lien that the state can put on your property. And so you're basically misrepresenting to the state that you still own your house when you really don't, because you've done this deed. But they're like, no, just don't file it. No one's going to know. And then when the person dies, the state comes back and says, okay, we're going to put a lien on your property. You're like, no, you're not, because of this deed. Well, it's dated prior to the application, and you've just committed fraud. I mean, that's a huge issue that a lot of non-elder law attorneys, and there's one prominent attorney that I know of who does this routinely, and it just makes me cringe, because I'm afraid these people are going to get a fraud charge because you're telling the state, yes, I still own this house, and then you tell them later, no, just kidding, I did not own this house. Okay. All right. Do we need to talk about public transportation? Yeah.
But I think we need to take one more call. So there's enough time.
There is enough time
to take one more call. So if you're out there, I'm talking to you. Dial 636-7979 or 1-800-767-7979, or go to Facebook, type in Answers on Aging, type in questions or comments there, so we know we're not just sitting here talking to each other. But we do have a great public transportation system that provides free rides through the end of this calendar year, called Ozark Regional Transit. And we'll talk more about them after we take this call.
Okay.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for calling. How can we help you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, what I want to know is a little more about the money situation. I don't have any property anymore because I sold it, and I'm renting myself in a little senior place.
Right.
But right now, okay, so if something should happen to me, I have money in an account just for myself with my children as beneficiaries. Okay,
Good.
do I need if anything should happen to me, then do they need anything other than just their name on there as beneficiary to get the money?
Probably a death certificate.
Well, when you say if anything happens, are you talking about death?
Yes.
Yes. So once you pass away, they can get a death certificate, and they walk into the bank with the death certificate, and the bank will write them a check. Done.
They can get a what now?
Death certificate? Yes,
A death certificate, and they take the death certificate, which proves you've died, and then since it is payable on death and they've proven your death, they will get the check.
Okay, I don't have to have any other power of attorney or anything.
Well, now, as an elder law attorney, I will tell you, death is easy. Okay, something's going to happen to your stuff because you've died. It sounds like you've done the correct thing. My concern, though, as an elder law attorney is, what about the 3 to 7 years prior to your death when things get really expensive? You need help, you need care. That stuff runs, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 per month. My concern is what happens then. And during that period of time when you're still alive, you definitely need powers of attorney in place so that your agent can go do things, okay? Hopefully,
so they can get the money for anything that I might need for medical care or whatever.
That is correct. And also, there are some really cool Medicaid rules out there that allow us to protect about half, at least, of your assets, even if you're going into the nursing home tomorrow. Okay, we can, if the power of attorney has the powers in it, then the agent can go see a elder law attorney And that attorney can advise them on how to protect at least half of your estate and sometimes 60 or 70% of it. So I do recommend that you have a power of attorney. You've done things for death. That's great. Think about the 3, 5, 7 years prior to death. That's where you need a really good financial healthcare power of attorney to make sure things are taken care of prior to your death.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that in place?
I'm not sure. I don't think I do. I need to check with your office though to see if I have one on file.
Yeah.
We would
call us.
We would be glad to talk to you about that.
I might have it there. I'm not too sure. It's
Okay.
been a few years.
Okay.
Since
Yeah.
I talked to you. But
Call
I
the
need
office
to,
and we can look it up.
call the office and find out.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if their name is on it though, like I have a different account, but just for my daily expenses, my daughter's name is on there too, so she can just go ahead and write checks on that, right?
She can, yes.
At any time.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's hers. Well, whenever, whatever happens.
That's right.
Sickness or death or whatever.
Correct.
Okay. I think that answers my question. I'll just call in and see if we have a power of attorney there.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Yeah. And that
Good question.
That number is 479-601-4119.
That's right. So, Ozark Regional Transit is our community's free public transportation system. They have routes from Fayetteville to like South Bella Vista, North Bentonville, and all of their rides for the rest of this year are free. So there's really no reason to not take advantage of hopping on a new clean bus that's driven by, highly trained professionals that are personable and nice and helpful. They have Angelina who answers their phone. She's bilingual in English and Spanish, and she can kind of explain to you and make it simple to understand how to navigate this public transportation system, as well as give you information about local routes or bus stop locations. So please take advantage of our community's free public transportation system and tell them that we sent you. You can reach Ozark Regional Transit by dialing 479-756-5901 or by visiting their website, ozark.org. That's OZARK.org. And, check them out.
Good job.
What?
No, you're just very O-R-G.
O-R-G. Sometimes people don't understand what I say because apparently I have an accent.
Really?
Sometimes. Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, this has been a good show. Lots of good questions. We didn't get through all of our questions. Another good question is...
Yeah. Speaking of rides.
Not a question, but be a little bit nosy. Go look at mom and dad's car.
Uh-huh.
That's a huge indicator of how well they're driving.
Yes.
Are there bumps and dings on the bumpers and doors and different things? And if they're bumping into things at Walmart or, that's a good indication that something's going on, and let's not wait until they really mess up and have a huge wreck. And, and boy, that's touchy.
It is.
Particularly the men. I mean, there's some women, but us men, that generation, we drive.
Yeah.
And taking that away is like taking away, a appendage. It's like a lack of freedom. It's you're challenging my masculinity. It's like, no, I'm going to drive. But if dad's bumping into things, that's huge. And so catch it early. And the best way to do that is to look at the car, see if he or she's bumping into things, and catch it early.
That's right. That's nothing to mess around with.
Yeah. That's huge.
Yes. Please don't forget, y'all, to tell people about the show and our podcast because the information is really important to get to the right people who are living this stuff every day And, if you don't die young, if you listen to our opening song, you're aging and getting older. And as you do, things change. And
appreciate all the compliments today.
Yeah,
people.
thank y'all.
And it truly is just she and I and Tommy sitting here in this room, and we're like, is anybody really listening?
Mm-hmm.
Is anybody really out there? But
Hello.
y'all call in, and that keeps us going.
Yeah,
So yeah,
it does.
great. And I will say, pretty much half to 2/3 of everyone who comes into the office comes in saying, "I listen to you on the radio show," and I get cranky about paying for this every month, and
and I have to remind him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, Todd, remember, 5 clients came in this past week due to the radio show. Okay, you're right. So,
yeah. So
I'll admit I get cranky.
you get cranky, but it's not because we don't love doing it. It's just because you don't like paying for stuff. Shelling out money. That's okay. Okay.
Do you have a joke for us today?
I do.
Get ready.
Get ready.
Tommy's got to come in and do the.
Right as you stood
We
up.
got to make sure somebody laughs.
Yes. Cue the sound effects. Okay. Did you hear about the 2 guys that stole a calendar?
No, I did not hear about the 2 guys who stole a calendar.
They each got 6 months.
That was not that funny.
That's a weak sound
Okay.
effect.
All right, I'll get a better one for the next one.
Okay. Why did the man name his dogs Rolex and Timex?
Oh, I've heard this one, but I can't come up with it. Yeah, I don't know.
Because they were watchdogs.
Yeah.
Okay, one more.
All right.
How did billboards talk?
How do billboards talk? I don't know.
I don't know.
Sign language.
Man.
Okay, one more.
Yeah, one more.
I'm on a roll.
Yeah.
That's what we'll call it.
Okay. What did the blanket say as it fell off the bed?
Oops. I fell off the bed.
Oh, sheet.
Oh. That was pretty good. All right, let's see if this calls for us. Yes, caller. Comment or question for our program.
Hey, I just wanted to give you one more corny joke for the road.
Yay!
Okay.
What did one snowman say to the other snowman?
What did one snowman say to the other snowman?
I don't know.
What? No.
Do you smell carrots?
Hey, that's
cute.
That's actually funny.
I
Yeah.
like it. That's cute.
Well, thank you for your show.
Sure,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Thanks for calling. That's
I
funny.
have
Do you
not heard
smell-
that one.
I had
No,
neither.
I
That's
haven't.
cute.
Smell like carrot, yeah.
I've said, what did one eye say to the other eye?
I don't know.
Between us, something smells.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
The nose, right?
Yes.
Between-
Yes.
Yeah, I get
Yes.
it now.
Yes.
Tommy gets it.
Okay. Y'all, this has been a great show. Quickest hour all week long. And as always, we will be back next Wednesday from 9 to 10 to bring you another episode of our radio program. And we'll be dropping another new podcast. So check out answersonagingpodcast.com, or if you have a smart device, check out your podcast listening app and just search for Answers on Aging and tell people about the show. Keep calling next week and stay safe out there. Are we
All right.
done?
Y'all good.
And if you need to come see me,
Yes.
479-601-4119, 479-601-4119, and still a free consult with our office. And hopefully we can answer your questions, do what needs to be done, and help you sleep a little better the next day, because people are, it's so fun, but because people are like, man, I didn't want to do this. I put it off. Finally they do it and they're like, okay, it's done.
And it wasn't that bad.
And it wasn't that bad. It was,
Yeah.
kind of enjoyable actually to make these decisions and make it done. And so we truly love what we do and appreciate all of our listeners and all of our clients who are listening. And please give us a call if there's anything we can do for you. Okay?
Yeah,
all right.
Thank you very much.
See you next week. You're listening to KURE, Rogers, Springdale, Bentonville, KURM-FM Graphics,